I'm Erich Hoyt. I'm a research fellow with Whale and Dolphin Conservation in the United Kingdom and co-chair of the IUCN Marine Mammal Protected Areas Task Force. And I'm here at the third Humpback Whale World Conference and really excited by all the synergies that are happening between the various scientists who are here. I think one common theme is how concerned we are about the environment and about the world that humpback whales are living in today. The humpback whale has a lot to teach us. Humpback whales are the ones that get us most excited in terms of whale watching, in terms of all the science we've been able to do, but at the same time, they're getting caught in nets. They're threatened in some different areas of the world by the amount of noise from traffic and climate change. Everybody's affected by climate change. They're in the same planet as we are. And so we have this commonality that we share with them and a desire to try and make things better for them and for ourselves. What we know about humpback whales is probably fairly small. It's more than other whales, but on the grand scheme of things, we're still at the beginning of learning about them. I can tell you a few things that we're learning about them. One is that they have a lot of babies. They're a very prolific whale. We have a case of one female from this side of the ocean, that migrates between Provincetown, New England, Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary, and the Silverbank and Samana Bay area here. And that whale has had 17 calves in the last 45 years since we first were able to identify her as a mother. Being able to identify them by the underside of their tail and follow them year after year has been a tremendous advantage. So we do know some things, and some of them are very exciting, but we still, maybe we're 5%, who knows, out of 100. We have a lot to learn.
And about the dolphin, is it more?
About dolphins, it's hard. Humpback whales are one of the best known species, and I'm being modest in saying only 5 or 10%. It may be more, but dolphins, with some species of dolphins, the bottlenose dolphin, we have learned a fair amount. But every year there are new techniques, there are new ways that you can learn about them. And we find out, they teach us things that we just never would have believed were possible.
Okay. Do you have a vision for the future?
My vision for the future would be a place in the sea for whales, a safe place where they can live their lives. I think we owe it to them. Recently, in the last week, in New York, countries have agreed to agreed a mechanism for protecting the high seas. In December, in Montreal, the Convention on Biological Diversity declared that, and countries agreed that 30% of the ocean would be a target to be protected by 2030. So we have some very ambitious goals that feed into our concerns about climate change and the loss of biodiversity in the ocean. And this is our big challenge now for ourselves and for our children.
Mm-hmm. And why is it so important to protect these species?
It's important to protect all species, but whales are really fantastic indicators of what's going on in the ocean. They're tethered to the surface by their need to breathe, so we can monitor them in a way that we can't with a lot of other species that live down below. And so they can tell us about the health of the ocean, They are exciting, you know, with all the leaping that they do, and they get people excited about the idea of conservation, so they're important in that way. But they're also ecosystem engineers. Humpbacks are taking, by the act of their feeding, they're taking materials into the water column. They're transporting materials on their long migrations from tropical waters to polar waters and back. And those things are incredibly important in terms of mixing nutrients in the sea and encouraging diversity. At the same time, when they die, they store a lot of carbon. And what we're learning now is that the whales, you know, the more whales we have, the more potential we have for storing carbon safely, you know, when they die and when they go to the bottom of the sea. So they're part of the solution for the climate emergency that we're all facing now.
Do you think that they want to communicate with us?
I don't know. Communication is hard. Humpbacks, probably more than most whale species, come over close to boats. They're curious. I always mark it down to curiosity, kind of natural curiosity that a lot of species that are, you know, looking for food or looking for that, you know, that are intelligent. You know, they're curious, and it has served them well to have that curiosity. But whether that's an attempt to try to communicate with us, I don't know. I think if they were trying to communicate with us, they probably have some harsh things to say, I'm afraid, at least some of the time, because you know, the history of whaling and everything that we've put them through has not been great. But you know, the things have changed in the last few decades, and it's a much kinder world for, you know, for the ocean and for whales, and I think it's you know, it's optimistic, it's positive. So if we you know, maybe one day we will be able to communicate with them. We can certainly hear that they're communicating with each other, you know, with the songs, with vocalizations, and if we can get an idea of what they're talking about at some point, that would be another exciting thing.
And do you think that young generation have more conscience of the interaction between the whales and the humanity?
I think the younger generation is really fantastic. I mean, I see it in my own children, and I see it in a lot of young people that I work with, that they're starting from a point of much more knowledge than we started with, and that is producing a sense of caring about the environment and about, you know, what their future is, quite naturally. And so I see optimism there, but I also realize that there are some big problems that will need to be confronted.
Okay. Thank you very much.